Hey everyone. Today we're going to be doing another book review that I'm very excited to be sharing with you all. I have been dying to do this video. I was on vacation and I couldn't do it. But today I'm going to be talking about The Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. It is a book that has influenced me in an incredible way. It is a book that I have honestly been a fan of for a very long time, and one that I've just been so excited to share with you all, and one that I recently got the chance to finally reread again so I can share my updated views on it and the way that I'm kind of reading it now. So, as I promised last time, we're gonna talk a little bit about the author, talk a little bit about the book, and today, instead of reading some of the book to you, I want to show you some of the art. This book is interesting, just to preface that this is a comic book. This is not a traditional book review. This is a comic book. It is big, it is thick, and there is only one version of it, which I'll get into later. Today we're going to talk about Alan Moore and his book and why I love it so much. So, Alan Moore. Alan Moore is born in the UK. He started his career in the 1970s as a comic book strip writer for a smaller indie comic book industry company. And later on, as his career developed and he grew more accustomed to writing scripts, creating characters and worlds, DC Comics found him, they picked him up, brought him over to the United States, where in DC he really took shape and form and kind of created that classic Alan Moore style and way of writing books and comic books in general. While at DC, he wrote a lot of very famous comic books. Of course, The Watchmen is one of them, but also ones that we have all heard of, like V for Vendetta, Batman the Killing Joke, and From Hell, which are very fantastic books, which I will probably end up reviewing later on this channel's history. Alan Moore is a self-acclaimed anarchist, occultist, and a magician. And many of his ideological and belief systems and his views in general really do show up in his literature and in his work. And some of the themes that really get expressed here in The Watchmen are also ever present and very forefront. Alan Moore now is retired after finishing The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in 2016. He retired and now he just kind of does reviews and chills. The reason I really love this book, and the reason why I think many people have found this book to be very amazing in many ways, is that it takes a very different, it has a very different take on the comic book genre in general. For one, as I said earlier, there is only one book. There aren't, Section 5, Chapter 2, Part 3. This is the only book for The Watchmen that exists, besides art books and things that don't really add to the story. But in all of Moore's work, rather than taking on this very stereotypical, happy-go-lucky superhero with powers, and he has this beautiful colored background and world, and he's very, happy, and the world is happy and joyous because the superhero here exists, it's very opposite to that. Moore is, as a writer, and for all of his books, not only this one, but most of them are very dark. The colors are dark. The heroes' stories and their backgrounds are terrible and saddening, and the worlds that he builds to put these heroes in and where he decides to place them are also equally terrible. In this book, the book is kind of centered in this background of a dystopian United States in the 1970s, in this alternate reality where Nixon was elected for a third time, the US wins the Vietnam War, and this nuclear war between the Soviet Union and the United States is really ticking closer and closer to the death clock. And it's just this pressure, this mounting desire for change. The people are pissed. There's pollution. The cities are dirty, full of rats and just corruption. And his superheroes, who many people may not even see as superheroes because most of them don't even have powers, besides one of them, Dr. Manhattan, they're just normal everyday people with different lives, different upbringings, different experiences that have brought them into this career and kind of using this title as superhero to kind of push themselves out and to try to fix the world that's currently kind of crumbling around them. So for more of the story and why this is important is, I guess, I don't want to spoil too much because this really is a great book, but the basis of this book is that there's a group of superheroes called the Watchmen who are kind of trying to solve this mystery as some of the members of the party are being killed, being taken away, being pushed away, or exiled for different reasons, and they're trying to find out why. And as this is all kind of happening and they're trying to figure out how to go about fixing the problem and discovering it, the world, again, is really just ticking to this, every day just passes by and like things get more tense and the bombs seem to be coming ever closer, and there's just this desire to kind of fix the world and fix this thing that really the government hasn't been able to do. The military, any interventions, and the superheroes themselves haven't really been able to fix themselves. But as they're kind of discovering this, you know, this mystery, they're learning about themselves. You're learning about the heroes and the way that they're viewing the situation and how their worldview and everything kind of shape them and who they are, and which makes them feel very real. And that's something that I also appreciate about this book, is that the heroes were built for the world, not that the heroes were just placed into our world. They really do belong there, and it's very intentional, and I love that about this book. So I'm gonna leave it like that, and I'm just gonna talk about the art today, because that is I think really the beautiful part about this, is that this is first and foremost a comic book. Some of this artwork in this book is just fantastic, and I'm gonna show you some video now on the screen of some of the stuff that is in this book, but it is just gorgeous. Dave Gibbons did an excellent job at coloring, proportioning, and really giving the book that feel, like this kind of, this dreadful, you know, this anxious vibe. And there's like death clocks kind of strewn all over the place, and a lot of symbolism with, you know, with nuclear war, with time ticking by, with doom, with hunger and poverty, with pollution. This dread that kind of carries over into everything that these characters do and feel, just really makes the atmosphere that much more believable. And honestly, I just love Dave Gibbons's take on the comic book genre and the way that he personally saw that, besides just being happy all the time, how darkness too could really play an interesting role in the way that the setting and everything kind of fits together. Now, one theme that I really wanted to talk about here that this book really portrays really well is power. I think more than anything, as an anarchist, Moore said that that was really what drove this book and its narrative. I think what The Watchmen taught me more than anything was that, for one, you can make a really, really good comic and it'd be dark, but for two, that truthfully, any of us can become a hero. And I think Moore and myself now believe, or at least, you know, I'm leaning that way. It's hard to trust all the time that the institutions, the politicians, the police, and the people who have always promised to be there for us when the world was kind of falling apart, we can't trust them to do that job anymore. And sometimes we have to take it into our own hands, just like the Watchmen had, to become heroes ourselves in our own right. We have the ability, we have the power to help our communities, to help the world, and to help fix it in the way that we want to do that. But we can't hope for some billionaire, we can't hope for some politician to stand up and make those changes if he has no incentive to do that. And that is exactly why the Watchmen got together, to fix the world and to fix themselves, but also to become heroes in their own right and to help do their part on their own. And that's honestly something very inspiring about this book, and something that honestly it really spoke to me about it and why I love it so much. So if you have the chance, please pick it up. It's a wonderful work, and I highly, highly recommend it to anybody who's not only interested in comics and art, but in literature as well. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope this got you motivated to read the book, and hope to see you in the next one as well. Peace.